So an interesting contract that happened was the Jessie Bates one, and it's something that I thought we could maybe give a deeper dive to, as the Atlanta Falcons pay Jessie Bates a 4-year, $64 million deal. So $16 million a year for a safety. We're definitely talking about a ton of money. $36 million of it is guaranteed, but it's definitely structured in a way where you're not easily getting out of this ever. There's going to be dead cap regardless of when if he is cut, there's going to be dead cap regardless. After 1 year, it'd be $29 million in dead cap. So he's there for 2 years. After 2 years, it'd be $10 million in dead cap, and after 3 years, it'd be $5 million in dead cap. So this is definitely one where they're expecting him to play all 4 years. He is just 26, so plenty of reason to believe he could. But for the Falcons, this feels like it's an interesting move because I don't know how competitive they're trying to be next year, but it does feel like it's a move that, while helps them now and it's a free agency move, it's kind of a move for the future in a sense as well. As I said, he's just 26, and you do have Casey Hayward and A.J. Terrell at the corner position, so getting potentially a third star in the secondary, it feels like that's how they're trying to build from the back to the front, which is something that, in today's NFL, it's a passing league. Getting guys who can defend a pass is a really important asset, and they also have been making an effort to get weapons as well. They still need the quarterback. There's plenty of things the Falcons still need. They're rebuilding, but one of the ways you can rebuild is by acquiring free agents through the draft, and that is what Atlanta seems to be trying to do here with this Jessie Bates move, and I really don't hate it because I think Bates is a really good player. Let's talk about why I think that Bates is so good. So first, let's look at, before we get into the film, this is what where PFF had Jessie Bates on their big board. He was their 4th highest rated player that was a free agent, 2nd highest non-quarterback that was a free agent. He's this, you look at the numbers towards the right, those are his PFF grades and his PFF WAR, and some good numbers. Although, 2020, he was PFF's highest graded safety in football. Past 2 years, hasn't quite lived up to that hype, but still was the 24th best safety his following season. And, coverage is notoriously fluky. 1 year it looks really good, 1 year it looks really bad. So the fact that his bad seasons are still pretty good, I would say is actually a good sign. And for what it's worth, their projected contract was they were expecting 5 years, $16 million a year average. Let's get into the film. Let's start off with this play. This is a great example of what Bates can do effectively, where it's going to be a zone coverage play, cover 3 zone, so just a single safety deep, and that safety is Jessie Bates on this play. And typically, the read for Deshaun Watson on this one is simply whatever Jessie Bates doesn't do, you throw it there. Because you see how you have two routes that Bates could cover. He could cover the deep route, could go over the middle, and basically for Watson, you throw it to where Jessie Bates isn't. Kind of a simple read, really. Look at how when this play begins. Look at how Bates plays this, though. To me, he is clearly in position to, if the ball is thrown deep, he can get over and he can make the play, which is what you're supposed to do. As a safety, you got to make sure that you respect the deep ball first. Trust your teammates that they can cover the underneath stuff. Trust the linebacker will read it and get back. You have to make sure that you do not give up a bomb here. However, at this point, he basically looks over and realizes his teammates are not covering the over the middle route. And he does actually have a corner who's playing this well, covering the deep route. So he's going to make a bit of a bold decision here and say that he's going to try and cover that over the middle route. The issue is, as you just see on the field, he's far away from that guy, so he has a lot of ground to cover. However, look at as when Watson does make this throw, watch the ground Bates does cover, and he is able to get into the end zone before running, make the catch and get his feet in bounds. In the end zone would be impressive, but able to get the interception is what I meant to say. Really good stuff by Jessie Bates on that one. And again, this is the kind of thing that Bates is just capable of, is he really makes some smart reads. Like, every time I see him, I'm like, he understands the, what's going on at basically all times. Some people just see the field, see the game better. He's one of those guys. Like, this plays, I think, a really good example of that, where you could argue it's luck. There's definitely going to be an element of luck to this play. I mean, you see on paper, it's basically the exact same thing I just showed you on the last play. Watch how when this play begins, you're going to see that right here, again, Bates kind of doing the same thing. Making sure he covers the deep route, but sees that the route is going over the middle. In fact, quarterback is getting hit as he's thrown right now. So Bates now knows where the ball is going. But I think it's possible a lot of safeties would have maybe already started looking at the player who's trying to take them further deep and not paid as much attention to the quarterback and to where the ball is getting thrown. But Bates just makes sure he always is still watching the quarterback. He's always aware, because you never know when a missed throw is going to happen and when you're going to have to take advantage of it. As you see, it was a missed throw, but Bates was aware and he was able to make the catch. Is that lucky? Of course. Obviously, it's lucky that, Bates didn't cause that missed throw or anything, but what do good football players do? They take advantage of their opponent's mistakes, and that's exactly what Jessie Bates did there, is he took advantage of his opponent's mistakes by being aware of what's going on. Also, going over to this one, I kind of think that he can kind of get guys to accidentally make mistakes as well. Something like this, where it's, you see where he is on the field. He's just playing the kind of the free safety end zone type scenario where, he can do whatever he wants essentially on this play. There's man coverage for every other eligible receiver. For him, just try to find a way to make an impact. That's what you're doing in this situation. As you see, Tampa Bay does run a play action, but then stops the play action, and you see at this point, Bates stepped in a little bit, but not too much. Pretty much played it very well. Brady is looking over towards Russell Gage, number 17 for Tampa Bay, who is not wide open. This is still pretty good defense, but I think Bates is doing a good job of reading Brady, knowing where his eyes are, and not getting himself too out of position, because for one thing, Brady is known for looking somewhere and then throwing somewhere else, so he's not, reading too much into it, but also making sure he's in position to where if the throw does go in that direction, he can jump in front of it. And as you see, that's exactly what Bates does. He dropped the football, so that's not great. But, other than that, it was a very good play just to get himself in position to be able to make that play. And again, drop passes are going to happen. I'm not going to freak out over it necessarily. It's not a common thing I saw with him. And the common thing I did see with him was he was putting himself in position to get interceptions, and that's something that I like. Also, going over here, while he's kind of more known for being a coverage safety, he is someone who can help in the run defense game as well, which is nice. Something like this, you see the Baltimore player who's going to run out and block him one-on-one here. Watch as when this play begins. You see right here, this is where Bates is going to have to make a decision. Do you try to just overpower the guy who's going to block you, or do you decide to go around? Well, as you see, Bates goes around, and he's able to actually end up making help making that tackle eventually. Again, was that the biggest impact play ever? No, but it's just a good example of showing that he can find ways to impact the game, even in the running defense game. He's someone who's just, a very talented player. At least that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.